Hello, everybody. It's Crazy Logics 007 on YouTube, Crazy Logics in the forum, and everybody else just calls me Damon. Continuing with monoblock Deaf Bonce AAB amplifiers. We got the littler one here, the 2900.1. Um, see, this one had an issue. There is, I don't know if it'll focus on that. There's the remnants of some speaker wire spot welded to the top of the set screw. So that makes me think that somebody just this while they were hooking it up, testing, doing something. It's probably what popped it. So gonna go through this one pretty quick. It is the smaller, but I want to kind of cover it and we'll see what's wrong with it. Started kind of taking it apart already, pulling screws, trying to speed things up. But let's do this, and as long as this one does okay, and you guys comment down below that you want to see it, I've got the next size up from the bigger 7900, which should be the 13,000 watt one. I think it's the 1209 or 12900. I got one or two of those. See if we could get one of them in there if you guys want. If you're interested in the bigger one. The other video seemed to do well, so we'll go over this one. So let's get to pulling this apart real quick and checking some stuff. So, like I said, I'd started taking apart screws and stuff. Couldn't. I tested stuff with my meter. We're gonna skip that. You watch some of the other videos. You'll know exactly how we test it and stuff. But I didn't see nothing right off the bat until I seen a little bit of burn mark here, where those fets are. So I went ahead and took those fets out because I've already actually taken this all out. Just kind of showing this for need of it. But from the looks of it, the output's blue here, and it also blew the rectifiers, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check with my meter here again. Well, I'll go over it real quick, but we'll double check that. But already knew that we'd had, and I pulled the fets out. There they are, and there's the one there. It's got a nice blowed off leg. So that made that real easy to identify that we have a problem in the outputs. I did notice that this one looks like it's got the standard C5 chips, I think that is, yeah. So we're going to have to replace those. But this one does not have the output 3005 buffers to run it. Since it's only running 4 outputs, the chip itself must be enough to drive it. So that definitely means the chip probably took the brunt of the damage. The other thing I noticed about this amp is it's been in for repair before. If you look, I'm going to get a pointer here, some kind of pointer. This power supply regular coil and transistor and stuff over here with these diodes, that leg, somebody's made a leg to go from here to that coil. So that's been repaired before, and it looks like, yeah. So I'm going to have to double check some of that. Well, it's really hard to get my camera to focus on this little sucker right now. I'm going to get zoomed in a little. But I'm going to clean on this, and then I'll show the meter stuff. Like I said, bam, 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 let's work on this one. If everybody likes it, we'll keep it short and neat, and this will be the video we comment on for the big amp. So, the rectifiers, if you got your meter in diode mode, should beep on the outer, which they do, but we should not get any sustained beep when we check the rectifiers to the middle. But look, we're getting straight up, shorted, shorted, shorted. So that's shorted to the output stuff. So just like I took these out, I'm going to have to take these out. We'll flip it around to the power supply. There is two fets to go to this one. So that's your push and pull. Same here, push and pull. We can check these. That's good. The beep went away. We're just testing it in diode. You know, some other crazy YouTube repair video guys like Todd at Ellensburg Amplifier Repair, you should check out his channel, like to use resistance. He's crazy. He's just nuts. I don't know. You know, he gives good reasons for why he does stuff in his video and talks about how things are, you know, done and what his troubleshooting procedures is, you know, like, because he does it for a living. He's smart. Me, I'm just a goober, right? So I'm doing it diode mode, you know. I'm I'm haphazard. Don't ever trust anything I do. I'm a goober. So anyway, those all end up checking for no shorts, so I bet our power supply is okay. We will need to replace these rectifiers. I'll show you the part numbers for those as soon as I get them desoldered and I clean this up. Probably need to find, they're going to be, oh boy, they're really charred up in there. We'll clean that up. Probably check the gate resistors there. It definitely popped one of them. Did it pop all of these? I can't remember. Yep, that one's a dead short. Dead short, every bit of it. Only one of them, quote unquote, survived. So that means check the gate resistors on both. It's got a drive chip that's going to be driving one pair there and one pair there. So that's probably the limit of that drive chip. Okay, got our meter set on ohms. We're going to test these 10 ohm resistors here. That shows 1.2. What is that again? It's 1R0. That might be a 1 ohm resistor. The resistors might be there. Let me look at them. 1R0. Test one of those. Maybe those are. Oh. Those are testing as 1 ohm. Maybe that's right. Let me look it up. I thought 1R0 was 10, but maybe it's 1. So yes, that is 1 ohm, 1R0. It's 10R0 would be 10 ohm. But the rectifiers, I did get those out. And they do, if we put on diode check here, we should not get a dead short. We should get a diode reading. And we're getting dead shorts everywhere. So it completely blew the rectifiers. I'll pull out some new rectifiers. We'll get those in. I'm going to add leaded solder to these chips. Remove them. You can see the dots on them. I can get this thing to focus. Yeah, you can see the dot on the chip. So that tells you where, how the chip should be placed. We'll solder in the new chips. I'll double check these resistors down through here. And then I'm going to look at this. This is the regulator circuit. Hopefully it's in good shape. I'll test those diodes around it. It's been repaired, like I said, once before. So hopefully as long as that's good, it'll give us good there, and we'll put in 4 new ones. We'll give it a test. Pretty quick, pretty simple. Just everything was shorted on the outputs. The rectifiers got blown because of it. We know driver chips just die, man. It's just not worth it. Even though these things are expensive now compared to what they used to be, they're still, just have to be replaced. It's safety insurance. That's why I always replace all the outputs and stuff and everything. I match everything up. Just doing it proper. So I'll pull those chips, put some new ones in. I'll get the rectifiers out and show you the numbers. They are labeled here S1 and S2 on the board. I have it in my notes here. I'll show you my notes for that. And so you'll know which ones to apply to which one. That is the nice thing about all these clone boards that, Sundown and everything. They all use S1, S2, and it all does match up. There is a way you can tell how it's supposed to go based off the 2 rail capacitors. So maybe I'll teach you that in this video. We'll see. Going to my notes here. S1 or S3 is common cathode. It's a MUR 1620 CT. And S2 or S4 is a common anode, and that's an MUR 1620 CTR. That's the rectifiers, so that's what we put in. I'll get those soldered in, and then I gotta unsolder those. Which tip do I have in? Right now I got the big tip in, so let's go ahead and solder these in. Probably should be putting in the fits. Maybe I'll find those real quick. Give me a second. Alright, I got my overhead light on, so that's why you're getting this reflection, but I got my 4115 fits in also. I'll show you how I solder these in real quick. Just give you a quick demo and then we'll just move on. So on the fets, it's always easier to hit the gate leg. Is that the gate? No, that's not the gate leg. This is the gate leg. Get a little solder in there. Lift this up and get it where it's level with the board, like the factory ones. I'll show you the factory ones. So on these, they're level with the board. So the gate's always the easiest to solder. Allows you to get it up here, get it position level, and let that leg cool. And that'll hold the fet in position, and you can solder all the rest of them. That's how I do it. That makes it where I've got these nice and smooth level, even with the board. Once everything's soldered in, always go through. Make sure you don't have any solder bridges. These rectifiers should check short on the outside, but should check diode reading in the middle. All right. I'm going to let my soldering iron cool off, switch to my small tip, add leaded solder along these legs, then take my hot air and gently work around the board, and then remove these two chips and replace them. And then I'm going to check these diodes all around here just with my diode test, and maybe some of the resistors, and then I'm going to give a really good inspection with this, but excuse me, get that kind of checked out and those chips swapped, and we should be ready to try to test it. So checking, it's going to be with my eye loop, and then I always get some kind of really good light source in here, so I'll have this stuck up to my face with the light source on it, so I can really look to make sure, you know, like you don't see little resistors with a spot on it or a capacitor or something like that. You can also check the caps for shorts by running your multimeter and diode on there too. So just some little hints. So we got some power. Get my foot switch around here. I'm going to turn this light off. We are looking at lights over here. It may take it a little while because I've got it on my power limited stuff here to get built up. I'm just going to keep pulsing it. It's trying. Still telling me I'm current limit. I got to fill these big caps. But that going out, even the clip going out. Oh, there we go. We got it. So that was the blue light. Now, to show you the difference, because right now it's pulling about 1.9 amps. Check everything for that. So if I was looking up, I don't have my other camera set up right now for the screen, but what that does is putting this on my current limited supply and getting it to fire up. If it had went to like this blue light or kept trying and it kept pegging out my power supply, which is only a little 3 amp power supply, it's adjustable, it's a lab style. Get you a cheap lab style power supply, 0 to 30 volts. Fantastic. You can work on 6 volt stuff, 9 volt stuff, 12 volt stuff, 18 volt stuff, 24 volt stuff. And it makes it fantastic. Sorry, got a little frog in my throat. Because you can current limit it and not burn anything up. And then once this is up and going, this is pulling 1.7 amps at idle. So, bam, now the power supply is okay, but it was trying to fill these rail caps up and it was having a hell of a time because it's a big inrush. And these smart little full bridges are using a pick chip that has a program in there that's monitoring and finding out whether or not you have enough current to supply for this thing to operate. And that's why it keeps flashing at you unless you're on a full thing. So I'm going to take it off and I'm going to turn my power supply off and I'm going to turn my big 20 ampere on. So now it's on. And if you look down in here to watch the LEDs, you should see them all light up maybe if these have discharged enough. And then it'll just go to blue really quick. Bam. There, you see them all light up? Went to blue, shazam. So it had enough current to fire it up, no problem. So we can go ahead and turn on the radio. I don't know how well, I've put a filter on my microphone so that I get less background noise because of summer, winter, road noise, everything else. So I don't know how well you could hear the music when I play this. I mean, it's just the bass part anyway. I do need to, somewhere I have a flat blade. A good one. Somewhere. Oh, here we go. Need to make sure I got the gain not cranked. Where's it set at? It was set pretty good. All right. I'll crank it up. Make sure I see it on the microphone, but you may not hear it all that great. Alrighty. So that works. We had to replace the rectifiers. It blew those out when the output shorted. That means it pulled a lot of current, but apparently this power supply is beefy enough to handle blowing out the rectifiers when the outputs blow. But that got her up and running. That's the repair. All that's left is do a little load testing on this one and make sure it's going to stay good and double check all the pots, crossovers, and stuff. Clean those if needed and all that good fun stuff that I do when I finish everything up. So I hope this helps you out a little bit, encourages you to learn to fix stuff. It's fun. I love it. Comment, like, subscribe, share. I never ask anybody to share, but if you know somebody that's got amps, these amps, whenever you see a repair video, share it to your buddy, you know, or something. That'd be great. But I got a bigger one coming, but there'll probably be a little delay because I got another amp I got to fix for me in between here and there because my Punch 150 HD died. So we got at least got to get me a working amp so I can put it in my truck, and then we probably need to diagnose what happened with that Punch 158D HD. That was the one that was in one of the live streams that I was working on, and all I did to that one was fix it and make it functional. I did not recap it. Oh no, I put one of my my PIM boards in so that would actually be able to play music instead of static. But I didn't do any recap, any nothing else. Just bare minimum fix on it because I wanted to stick it in and rock and roll it hard and see if there was any other things that would show up that really need to be fixed. You know, a little learning for myself, and actually came to pass that it did die again. So we get to go and look in it, and it blew 40 amp fuse. Now, if you know, Punch 150 is supposed to be running on a 30 amp fuse, so it's definitely popped the power supply, I would assume. But it's also bolted down underneath on a bracket underneath my seat, so you have to take the whole seat out to get to the amplifier. So I'm going to fix up an amp first, so I have one to put in so I can get some tunes when I take my seat out and everything. That way we can just swap it, and then we'll work on that 150 in a later video after the video where we get me a working amp to put in there, because I don't have a spare one right around. Amp repair guy ain't got a working amp. Who would have thunk it? All right, guys, thanks a bunch. Hope you learned something, and I appreciate y'all. See you next time.